All right, everyone. So quick shout out to White Mummy of New Nation for the new intro, the new banner, and the new profile picture on the YouTube channel. So if you guys are in the market for any digital stuff like that, go ahead and give @White Mummy a shout out online or in-game. All right, so today I'm bringing you War 7 against KenOB. This is definitely the fight for first place, especially if the rest of the season plays out well. It's always a very close war. KenOB's usually getting the better of us, so hopefully this war they don't. BG1 does have the global protect. I will be taking in Void, Quake, and G99. I've got Path 3 in Section 1, and then Path 1 in Section 2. I've got one middle mini-boss and 2 mini-bosses before taking the boss, so boss duty again this war. War playing got out late, so I'm going to be able to take all my fights in these 6-hour boosts. So here, Path 3, we've got Mephisto. Nothing special about it. It's just a Quake and Shake fight. So it's just getting used to the animations either during the fight or in a duel, and then just making sure we don't drop the heavy too much or take any hits. Nothing special. I'm sure Void could take this fight. He's not a protect champ, so there's not any Mephisto counter is going to work really well here. So, and down he goes. So easy fight. Next up, I'm going to be taking this strike counter Corvus. This can be a little tricky just because of his guaranteed crit chance with his glaive. So it can get dicey, but the important thing is to remember the strike counter combo, which is to go ahead and heavy, do medium light, do medium light light, and then medium light. And then by then you should be at a special that you can throw, and then it'll reset it. He should be at a special. You can bait it out while the combo's got all the combo left. That way he's not building fury while you're trying to hope to throw. You'll see there, I didn't think I parried, so I retaliated too late, ate a combo, and then I think right about here somewhere, yeah, I thought I did parry and I didn't, and ate 2 hits luckily. So I'm a little shook here, but I know I've got the health. I can get some of it back with adrenaline as long as I fix my rotation and make sure I'm actually parrying when I want to parry, and just get back on track. So you'll see I collect myself. We're back to throwing special ones. We're back to going through the rotation. We're making sure to dext Corvus's SP1 but not retaliate it so that we don't get parried on the way in, which I have done with Void before. It's just easy to get in the rhythm of the fight and think you can retaliate and then realize you're too far away. Trying to get him to throw that SP1. He's almost down. I believe this is going to be the last strike counter combo rotation, and then the SP1 is going to finish him. So perfect timing, the knockdown, death. So a little shaky, caught me off guard, but we're good to go. Moving right along to this Power Snack mini that I can't seem to get away from Quake and Baking. So I practiced in a duel to see if I could reapply heavy against Maul, because with his non-contact hits, he's going to be throwing heavies quite often compared to most Quake and Bake fights. So I needed to make sure I was solid in that. So the goal here is just not to trigger the dex buff at all. So we're not going to dash back on our own. We're just going to let the evades and the parry take over. And you'll see here I don't have the White Magneto pre-fight, so it's not a guaranteed parry stun of 2 seconds if I do happen to land one of his contact hits. So I do get hit there, kind of just quit doing the Quake and Bake and just took some hits to the face, but I used an indestructible because I wasn't sure how this fight was going to go, just to be safe. And you can see it's just going really well, and it's over. He's very squishy. Moving right along to my Path 1 fights in Section 2. Both were quaked. It is Korg, who I also can't seem to get away from quaking, and Sentinel. So there's nothing special here. They're both Quake and Shake fights. I believe with the Sentinel one, I even tried to trigger Dexterity early and just get a permanent Dex without Buffet taking it. So here it can get interesting just because of the Vigor node. At every 25% increment, the timer is going to come back, even if I make it fail from the previous 25% increment. So sometimes if concussion isn't up right when that timer ends, then he will start healing, and I think he does right there. Which kind of, it does make the fight a little bit longer, but it still doesn't shake me. Because we have a total of 5 minutes, and there's no reason Korg should hit me, so. It's pretty straightforward with Quake, ever since Stubborn left the game. So moving along to the Sentinel, you're going to see in the beginning I just decided to trigger 2 dexterity buffs so that I can get a permanent one, and then the plan is just not to drop the heavy. Now if I do accidentally drop the heavy, I will immediately switch to Quake and Bake, and Sentinel's not hard to Quake and Bake. He's very robotic in his movements, so the speed required in, let's say, a Korg fight or a Modok fight isn't quite the same versus a Sentinel. You can kind of be a little bit slower, and he won't throw a heavy because of it. So, nothing too special here. Quake and shake. Just always boss rush, quake and shake. If it's an option, if it's needed. If I'm not needed to do anything else. And that's the last aftershock, and down he goes. Alright, so taking this Domino on the Rage Mini with G99, and usually our rank 2 G99 takes it, but he was needed for the Stun Reflect Mini on the right, so I went ahead and took it with my rank 3, since I didn't need another champ, and I do have, I think, half suicides on, since mine is a rank 3, and he usually takes this with a rank 2. I am max boosted here. G99 does not benefit greatly from boosting. The health boost she does, but for attack she doesn't. So there's no fear in having to remove those boosts in case I trigger rage. It's really just making sure that the calculation's right and that you don't go full suicides, because eventually near the end of the fight she probably will trigger rage. And then holding all specials, so you'll see I don't throw a single special this entire fight. Game plan here, short combos if I see the lucky up, so that if she evades, I'm prepared for it. You'll see she throws SP1, I dodge the first part, and I come in for the second part to block it. I just wanted to keep the spacing so that I could always retaliate the SP1 instead of dodging the second part of SP1 and possibly being just a little bit slow or too far out to retaliate and therefore getting parried. Wouldn't want a perfect to land and then suddenly I'm stunned. So that's all you're going to see. Combos rising, so damage is rising. She's going to get hit with the degen. I'm going to keep her against the wall pretty much the whole fight, so that I don't get cornered trying to bait out her specials. When you see the lucky buff, you're going to see me not end with a medium or a light, so I'll stick to just 3-hit or 4-hit combos and then back off. And that's about it. Just beating her to death with G99. You see the block damage is building up, but it's nothing compared to the damage I'm doing to her. So there's no worry that I need to start dexing everything or dodging everything. And down she goes. So first time, pretty good attempt. Moving to this Storm here on Hurt Locker. She can be quaked. We originally had a Warlock assigned to it, but he would have had to use items to take it, so I went ahead and took it. I believe I kept a half suicides on, so this is going to be a quicker fight than most mini bosses. Plus her health isn't over 200k like most mini bosses, so it's going to go even faster. The only worry here you have with Quake is don't drop the heavy. So really pay attention to the fight and the animations, and maybe even the sound if you're listening to sound, to anticipate or to not anticipate and actually just react, therefore not drop the heavy. Just because it is power focus 1, you wouldn't want to push her to SP1. If you do end up getting hit by it, it puts a cold snap on you and then you can't quake and shake. So down she goes. We didn't drop the heavy. It was an easy fight. All right, and then moving on to our usual Mojo boss. Now we didn't have the white Magneto pre-fight for this fight, so we're doing about 15% less damage. But we did remove Dex. We do have Flame on. I do use an indestructible boost in case I eat a few heavies or some attacks. It's just a safety net because I have it. So game plan as usual, bait out a heavy through blocking. You see I intercept there, so got a little cheeky to start. He decided to hold his block, so I hit into his block, and there was the heavy, and now we have him at SB1. So we're going to bait it out a little bit. And I mistimed the reach on his dash in, so I got hit. 2 hits of the indestructible gun. He's being a little bit of a brat and blocking too much, but it's perfect because the prompts were asking for specials, so we avoided that prompt. But he went ahead and threw SB1 there and activated another prompt. So we're at 2, still pretty good. It is a dupe to Mojo, so if he fails, he's going down to 1. He's throwing SB1s immediately. I did kind of switched up a tactic. After I finish a combo and I want him to throw a special, I'll actually hesitate to throw block immediately in the hopes that the AI decides to throw a special. So you may see it, you may not. It's like a half-second slow to throw up a block so that he throws his SP1. And you'll see it's going really well. Prompts are staying low. We haven't passed 3 yet. He's below 50%. He's throwing his SP1s like he's excited to use SP1. And we're doing a good job avoiding the prompts we can avoid. So here's a hold block. I'm not going to block too much. I'm not going to hit into his block too much to let that timer run out. And then he's going to throw an SP1 soon with another hold block prompt after one already failed. And you'll see I'll get out of that block so that I don't trigger it. So here it is again, out of it so that I don't trigger it. So we're doing great. He's only at 1. He's almost down. We haven't taken any hits. We're retaliating. Heavy's quick enough. We're not getting buried. And down he goes. So it was a pretty good Mojo fight, even though we didn't have the white Magneto pre-fight. And you'll see here, BG1 died 1 time to their 0, so it kind of sucked. But the real kicker was us losing 4-3. We had a disconnect, but that would have only caused us the tie, which is still losing score for us. This did kind of knock out our chance of catching KenOB in first place, unless KenOB wins at some point in the last few wars, which doesn't seem very likely. But we still have a shot at second place, so there's still an opportunity to play out the season well and get second place. So that's the goal for now. Thanks for stopping by and watching. Hit subscribe and follow me on Twitter to keep an ear out for the next one.